Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video leading up to the 9th season for the Walking Dead television series. In this one, we're going to count down and take a look back at Season 8 and All Out War. We're going to count down 7 things All Out War did right. And spoiler warning, of course, as usual, if you guys have not seen all of All Out War yet in the Walking Dead television series, which is just simply up to the end of the Walking Dead Season 8. So we saw All Out War begin in the Walking Dead television series in the second half of Season 7. So near the end of Season 7, we started to see a lot of the moments from the comic book series version of All Out War Part 1 start to be adapted. Here on the cover you can see what basically ended up being the Season 8 premiere, but there was kind of a battle at Alexandria there to start. We had Jadis and the Junkyard Group involved. We had Sasha and all that stuff at the end of Season 7, and we had some good things relating back to Abraham in the finale there, and kind of her perspective on what she was seeing. So really, All Out War did actually take up more than just one season. It was more like all of Season 8 and the last little bit of The Walking Dead Season 7, like the last episode or a couple episodes, depending on how you want to look at it. So that's quite a bit to stretch out the Walking Dead comic book series version to take basically volumes 1 and 2 here of All Out War, which is just a 2-part volume, and make it to an entire season and a little bit. Usually we see 3 volumes take up 1 season of The Walking Dead. So in this case, Season 8 was pretty much entirely this, with the remainder of this that was left over from Season 7 that was not covered. And so, I feel like when we're reflecting on The Walking Dead Season 8, and I did my review on it, as well as, a lot of the episodes we take a look at, we kind of look back on it, and a lot of times we emphasize what they did wrong, or what some of the things they could have done better were, or things we didn't like. But a lot of times we don't notice the things that they actually did right that were really good and that worked really well in the series. So in this video, we're going to count them down. I got 7 reasons myself, or 7 things that they did really well in the television series version of All Out War. So number 1 is going to be the scale. The scale of All Out War in the TV series was really good. They made it even bigger than the comic book series version, even to the point where there were so many people, there were so many survivors, even right up until the end to the very last battle, that I was actually surprised. We do get the sense in the television series, I want to say, that there was hundreds of people involved in All Out War, and probably, maybe like over 150 to 200 saviors, because at the end they still had a lot of people, and quite a few survivors as well. You'd have to kind of tally them up to look through, but it's in the hundreds in terms of the amount of people that are fighting back and forth. That's even more than in the comic book series version. The comic book series version did not have the Junkyard Group. They did not have the Oceanside coming in yet. They were not involved. They did not have all the different Negan outposts. They had some outposts, but we didn't get a sense they had that many. They didn't bring Morales back. So that's got to be one of them too, right? He's got to be in there too. So they really did a good job with the scale. They brought in a lot of extras, a lot of survivors, a lot of saviors to see the battle go back and forth really well. And it did feel like a big scale war. It didn't just feel like one battle, like at the prison, as you have that last kind of battle there with like a dozen per side of the governor and his men, and then you have Rick and the small group at the prison that's staying there. This one had a big scale, even bigger than the comics, and it really did feel like a war. And number 2 is that it was pretty unpredictable. As you're seeing All Out War go through, there's quite a few things that happen there in the episodes that were really, unless you were privy to spoilers, you really would not have seen coming. And I know because we're doing the prediction videos all year, we're doing kind of giving our thoughts on the trailers and that. And what they did with All Out War, they brought in a lot of, so you have Jadis come in, she captures Negan, and you see episodes like this. There's just a lot of moments in it that were very unpredictable, even right down to the fight with Simon versus Negan, where, you kind of figure that Negan would win, but after Simon gives his speech, it's kind of up in the air. There was just a lot of things that happened that were pretty unpredictable this season, a lot of twists and a lot of turns and things like this that they did, and I felt like it kept the storytelling very original. You had what they did with Carl there, which also, too, was totally unpredictable for fans of the comic series. You would never expect for them to do what they did there at the mid-season finale. So they did a lot of stuff in season 8 there that really would keep you guessing, and also the season 7 finale with the Junkyard group turning on Rick and the others. They got theirs, but it wasn't at the hands of Rick and the survivors. It kind of is like just to say, well, if they would have just gone along with Rick and their plan and not two-time them, then that wouldn't have happened. Jadis wouldn't have lost everybody. So I really liked kind of how they had it go through to where it wasn't as easy to tell. It wasn't just like they adapted this directly from the comics to the TV series, so you knew exactly what they were going to do, and then they did it. No, it was very unpredictable, and they changed a lot of things. They added in things, and they really kept it fresh, original, and big scale. So that's number 2. Number 3 is going to be the length of All Out War. One of the things I actually didn't like about The Walking Dead season 5, and I do love The Walking Dead season 5. It's the highest rated season of the series ever. But one of the things I didn't like about it that much was when it came to the hunters, they were introduced after you had them in Terminus, and then after Rick and the others kind of blow up Terminus and escape and all that. You have Gareth and the hunters. They leave, and within a couple episodes, they're done. 4 Walls and a Roof is their last episode. You don't get to see them for half a season. You don't get to see them for longer than half a season, and it's something that I really felt like they could have taken their time with and kind of inspected a little bit more, because I thought that Gareth and the hunters were really great villains, and you probably could have used them a little bit longer. With All Out War, I thought the length was really good. It was appropriate for what you need. Some people thought it was too long, but in terms of like having a time skip, you kind of have to have it take up a whole season or to a half season, and then do kind of the redesigning of the sets and time skip and all that. So it makes a lot of sense they did it that way, to have it be the entire season of season 8 and some of season 7. And I enjoyed that. I thought it was really good, the length of All Out War, the amount of time they gave it. In terms of the comic book series, All Out War Part 2, right here, I think is probably the best volume The Walking Dead has ever had. So out of all the different volumes, this is number 21, but we're close to 30 now. Out of all the volumes, even right up until, the recent release ones, I really think that All Out War Part 2 is the best volume. It's the most exciting part of The Walking Dead, and I'm glad they didn't just blow past it or go right over it in the TV series. They gave it as much time as it needed, and then maybe even a little more, which, like I said, is not a bad thing. I'm happy they did give it enough time, and if anything, they gave it a little bit too much, but I'm happy that they didn't cut it short either, right? So is what it is. But I still think that was a win, that they gave it as much time as they did, and it worked out the way that it did. I thought it was really good. Number 4 is going to be the nice twists that it has, which goes in a little bit with it being unpredictable. But if you look at just all the different twists they had, the twists and turns throughout All Out War, Simon turning on Negan, Dwight and Laura, and then you had in the season 8 finale with Eugene and the bullets, and a lot of these things, again, similar to being unpredictable, you would never see, as you go into that, we had the idea that maybe Eugene would turn on them or the Junkyard group might not be trusted, but they really did a lot of nice twists back and forth with All Out War as you're going through it, to the point where you get to the finale there in the final episode, and it's like the ending actually ends up being a twist too. Like it ends up being Eugene who wins the war for the survivors, and it was just really cool the way they added a lot of, I want to say, like Game of Thrones type stuff to Walking Dead that was not in the comic book series at all, to see a lot of that kind of stuff. And so I thought it worked out really good. It was pretty exciting, and it just kept it fresh, it kept it original, and it kind of kept your comic book hardcore fans guessing, which I thought was really good, as well as your casual viewers too. They would be questioning. I'm sure everybody's jaw dropped at the final battle, and then they found out that Eugene was the one who did it. They were like, oh man. So it had some good twists, Laura and the others being involved, and I thought it was really well handled as far as that goes too. Number 5 is going to be adding in additional storylines with Carl, Simon, Jadis, Morales. Not the Oceanside, though. The Oceanside we won't include in this. That was not... I didn't think the Oceanside turned out that great. It was okay, but it wasn't fantastic. But the stuff that they did with Carl, how it added to the season, it just kind of pushed it over. Like there was so much stuff in season 8 that they did that it really just jam-packed that season with content. You had the character death, you had the scenes afterwards of him and Rick kind of taking a stroll, with the farm and that at the end of season 8 with the flashback sequences. All the time he had adding in some of those episodes there, it really did add a lot to All Out War, and I think that it's a question of whether or not it's going to be worth it, because the TV series version of Carl, for some reason just never ended up being as cool as the comic book series version. I'm not sure why. Maybe him growing up too fast. Chandler. I don't think it's Chandler Riggs' fault, but it just didn't work out the same way as it did in the comics. Something like Lizzie was probably more closer to even Comic Carl than the TV series version is, the way I see him anyway. But Simon was an awesome add-in. Having him there was really cool. It added a lot to the war for kind of the savior side of things, and having that kind of civil war sort of battle for leadership kind of break out there at the end of season 8 was really cool. Jadis, I actually liked Jadis a lot, or Anne, a lot. By the time it was all said and done, I thought it was really cool, man, to add to the twists and what they did with the Junkyard Group and kind of their motto, or the way they do things. And she's kind of soft, really, when it comes down to it. You wouldn't know it when you see her super zombies that she creates and that kind of stuff. So it was cool to add that in there. It was something different, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it worked out pretty decent. And then, like I said, Morales coming back was wicked cool. That was just so sweet to add him in, and just everything they basically added in except for the Oceanside, I thought was pretty well handled and added quite a bit to the story and turned out to be pretty good. Next, we have that it redeemed Dwight, which it also kind of did in the Walking Dead comic book series as well too. But Dwight was a really great villain in season 6, especially. In season 6, he was kind of your forefront villain and always accountable. And then later on with Denise near the end of that season there, and he was to a point there near the end of season 6 where I thought we would never forgive Dwight, or Dwight was irredeemable at that point. Just a character that is going to be a villain forever and you're going to hate forever. And I thought that what they did in season 8 was they really humanized him a lot. We got to see things from his perspective as well too in season 7 and season 8. And I can say this time, I don't hate Dwight anymore. I think he's pretty relatable at this point, and I think they really brought him back from being a character that is just a straight hardcore villain that's easy to hate, that everybody's going to hate, and that you can't wait to see killed, to somebody where you sympathize with him quite a bit with what happened to him, Sherry, with Negan, and what that whole system Negan had created and the Saviors did to him. You kind of feel for him, even to the point where Daryl kind of gives him a pass and lets him live, even though he does tell him never to come back or he'll kill him. But I don't think he really would, even if Dwight does come back. I don't think he'll kill him. And the last one, number 7, is going to be what they did with Morgan. What they did with Morgan was incredible. If you don't know, Morgan in the comic book series version was dead at this point. The television series version of Morgan has survived on way longer, and I'm really glad they made that call to have Lenny James' character Morgan survive on. He's one of the best characters in the entire series. He's been absolutely fantastic to see. This crossover thing into Fear, which of course we got a new episode of Fear tomorrow night. Fantastic, just amazing stuff. And really, really something that I didn't think we would really see from Morgan. I didn't think we would get that much time, and he would be so cool during All Out War. I mean, he literally kills like so many Saviors. It's crazy, to the point where it felt so natural for him to leave. It's not even funny. Like when we first found out he was going to be the crossover character, we were questioning, how is that going to work? How is that going to make sense? But by the time you get to this season and you see all the Saviors he has to kill, you see everything that happens with him and the others around him at the kingdom and everything, certainly by the end of this season you can understand 100% why he just wants to run. Absolutely. So those are my 7 things that All Out War did right. You guys can write yours below. What are some of the things you liked in season 8? I know it's we're used to the opposite. We're used to everything sucks and like what they do wrong and everything. But seriously though, what were some of the things you saw in The Walking Dead season 8 and season 7 near the finale there with All Out War that you liked, that you thought was good and worked out and were things that you enjoyed? Maybe some stuff that wasn't in the comics that they added in, or maybe just some stuff overall that you thought was just really well done. Let me know what you guys think about this one and what you think about All Out War now that it's all over, because again, I want to do this since literally when it comes to the comic series, I do still feel this is the best part of the comics. So maybe it didn't turn out that way for the TV series, it being the best part overall for the TV series, but still, I think that they did a lot of things really well for All Out War, and I wanted to do a video spotlighting those. So let me know what you guys think. Write your comments below. What were some of the things you liked that they did in All Out War this season? And if you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.